Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Tech Trends and Innovation in Education. On today's episode, we are interviewing a young dreamer, an exciting young man I've met, and he's come up with an interesting solution called SchoolStaq. We are going to go and delve right in. Hello Desmond.
Hey.
Absolute pleasure meeting you today. I'm happy to have you here today to talk about SchoolStaq.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Awesome. Let's get right into it. Tell us a little about yourself.
Okay, so my name is Desmond. I'm a software engineer by profession. I recently got out of university, studied computer science.
Wow.
Yeah, so before entering school and coming out of school, I've worked on a couple of products. Some have worked, some haven't worked. But I came across a solution or a problem, I would say, in the edtech space. I realized that in other countries, educational solutions were growing at a fast pace. But in Ghana, other industries were growing exceptional rates, but in the educational space, technological adoption was very low. And I wondered what I could do to solve or digitize that space. And I came across the problem that most schools were keeping data of their students, but they weren't digitizing them. And even those who were digitizing them were either just storing them locally, which causes like a single point of failure for their data. And so at any point in time, they could just lose their data.
Right.
And then there would be problems retrieving those data. And then even for those who come back years later trying to get transcripts or see their performance in the past, it's very hard to retrieve that. So that was when I realized that, okay, this is a good point to start with.
Interesting. I'm hearing a lot of different things. I'm hearing there's always been the interest in tech.
Yeah.
There's always, I like the part of, I've tried different things, some have failed, some have, worked. I'm seeing a lot of trying out different things. And with regards to what you just said, I agree with you 100% that, especially pre-COVID, I saw how there was, if you like, a late adoption, I'll call it a late adoption to tech, especially in the educational space. So what is SchoolStaq about?
Yeah, so
tell us about SchoolStaq.
Okay, so SchoolStaq entails a lot of sub-solutions, but I think for start, the main aim of SchoolStaq is to first of all bring all schools' data or aggregate every school's data into the cloud and make it safe and accessible at any point in time, anywhere, once you have an internet connection, of course.
Right.
Yeah, so basically that's what SchoolStaq does from a bird's eye view.
Okay. Because I'm thinking before, it's always been a notebook. There's a notebook, you write everything down. If it's the student's name that you have, everything is in a notebook.
Exactly.
And I think there are spots of schools that have, adopted tech and are putting in all of those things in a system.
Yeah.
But this, I am hearing, takes it further.
Yes. So I have noticed that when you come to Ghana and you say, oh, we want to build an e-solution, it's always just, oh, slap on this thing here and then we are now digital.
Right.
But I think like taking the sensible steps to do that first and then adopting the right solutions is also a thing. So SchoolStaq gives you the ability to digitize your school and do it in the right manner such that you don't have any problems in the future, because like you have a lot of students in your school, some have thousands of students,
right,
and losing that data is not something you can easily retrieve.
Exactly.
Yeah, so this is like one problem. And
because I know that is a real concern for schools, and I've interacted with some that will tell you that paper and pen never lie. It will be there if you keep it well. So the convincing them to adopt this technology that is basically saying it's going to be up there in the cloud, and anytime you need it, doesn't matter when, where, you just need to have an internet connection.
yes.
I think my follow-up question will be, so what gap would you say you are filling in the market?
So I think the first bit would be that some schools or majority of schools are not adopting technology at all. The ones that we know of adopting technology might be doing it there's a 90% possibility that they're doing it the wrong way. As I mentioned earlier, they have like a single point of failure. There could be a fire outbreak, there could be hardware failure on your machines in the school. And when that happens, what do you do? How do you retrieve that data? It's not something you can easily go back and get. If you have the physical records to go back to, it's going to take you a long time to fill that back into a newer system you get. So basically, SchoolStaq is bridging the digitization gap in data management for schools.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What challenges, would you say you are facing, with regards to penetrating the market?
Okay, I think as in Ghana, it's hard to convince someone to adopt a technological solution. I think COVID has helped to convince people a bit easier, but there's still that element of doubt. Someone would be like, oh, but we use paper. I think it's easier to do and you don't have to go through all the stress of learning how this thing works.
Right.
And also, I think with those who already have an existing solution, that might not be a good fit for them. They'll say, oh, we already have this one. We don't think it's great for us to adopt this one. So convincing people to adopt SchoolStaq and then convincing other people as well to digitize their schools as well. So two different things.
I think the follow-up question would be, so what strategies are you putting in place to, get these customers?
Yeah, so I think the first thing I do to them is tell them where you're heading towards and say, hey, we are trying to digitize the whole forefront of education, but it starts with you storing your data in the cloud, and then from there onwards, when your students want to take their transcripts anywhere they are in the world, because you have people who have to travel outside or are not in Ghana and they want to access their transcripts, and then the school will be like, oh, you have to come with your ID card and a lot of things. So no matter where you are, yes. So as a school, we are helping your alumni as well, so you can easily give them access to their data and then charge them if you want as well. So yeah,
I think so. If I'm hearing you, I think the key things you are selling are convenience and security.
Exactly.
And even safety. Yeah, I see. Because I'm thinking about, most of the persons in charge of these schools, and they're typically, if you like, the older generation. And with my interaction with most of them is this, hesitancy in adopting these things. And I think one thing that will help a lot is the fact that even if anything happens to the hardware in terms of the computers and all the systems that run, the data is still stored.
Yes, exactly. It's still there.
It's still there, right? And they can access that anytime, anywhere.
Exactly.
I think that's brilliant. I think that's brilliant. Where do you see SchoolStaq in 5 years?
Yeah. So for start, once schools are able to get on board and then have the data of all their students on SchoolStaq, one thing that we'll be able to do in 5 years is people move around all the time, and then people are trying to move to school from school A to school B, and then there's the issue where, okay, now I'm leaving the school, I want to go to this school. This school is asking me to rewrite an exam, bring transcripts and all that. Now you can easily access reports from the person's previous school, and then based on that, you can decide to re-examine the person or just transition the person. And from that, you get the data from the previous school onto your school. So you know how the person has performed ever since.
All throughout, right?
Yeah. So in 5 years, once people are on board, I believe that will be very possible.
Oh, that's interesting. That's really, disruptive. Yeah, it's very different from things you normally hear when you enter the education space. Yeah. Back to the strategies. Aside the whole aspect of, telling them what's the unique selling points about the product is. What other marketing strategies are you looking to employ? Is there social media? Are you going to use traditional media? What other methods do you have in mind to get these schools on board?
Yeah, so later on, not currently, later on, social media is definitely a go-to, because as students or parents hear of this on social media, they'll begin to ping the schools. Hey, have you heard of this?
Right.
Like it can ease out, like in other terms, in the sense of payments as well. And we'll be looking at adding payment solutions where you can easily pay and then get your receipts. So if parents and students see the perks, they also get the convenience they get. They'll keep on pinging the schools, and then there'll be like a ripple effect. So marketing wise, I think that would be like a next go-to once we have great traction.
Interesting. That's an interesting strategy. I see how the dots connect in a sense. But I think listening to you and listening to the solution that you're offering, I'm thinking one of the things that I'm thinking about is it expensive?
Yeah, so there are different pricing tiers. There'll be like a baseline for just handling your data.
Okay.
And so that will come like at a fixed rate.
Okay.
And then additional solutions will obviously come at charges, because when you're using payment services, now that there's e-levy, there will be additional charges.
Okay.
But we'll still be looking at ways to improve upon the pricing terms and make it as cheap as possible.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So if I'm listening, so there's a standard product.
It's a standard product.
Okay, but then it can be tweaked to whatever preferences the school wants.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I see. Interesting. This has been really, really incredible. Interesting solution.
Yeah.
It's an interesting solution. Are there any competitors in the market? Like
in Ghana, I know of quite a few solutions that are basically centralized or dealing with it as I was referring to. The school is the owner of the data. That is fine. You keep your data, but what happens in the case of fire outbreak or all those things? So, and then there are also people who are also using the cloud, but without unique selling points. They just offer you a solution to store your data, and that's it.
Desmond, this has been really interesting. I like the solution. I honestly do like the idea of it coming. It's a local problem. It's a problem that is very, pertinent in the educational sector, and I like that it's coming from, it's a local solution. Yeah, that's pretty solid. Pretty solid. Guys, if you are, a proprietor, school head, you manage any sort of, education business, I would, implore you to check out SchoolStaq. I think based on what we have all heard over here, based on their unique selling points, etc., I think it's something that I would encourage all of you to check out, and and if possible, adopt and implement in your institutions. The world is changing really, really fast, and there are a lot of things happening, and one way to make things better, easier, make things more connected, make things much more easier for your students, etc., and even your team is leveraging on technology. This has been an exciting episode. Until next time, please be safe.